Appreciate you guys being here. Obviously, a little bit of a slower week for us with no game tomorrow. Important game probably for, I would think, on our side for sure, but I would think on their side as well at Middle on Saturday. So obviously, it's good to have a week where we can kind of focus on getting better and hopefully building on where we were when we left the court on Saturday afternoon. Have had a good week of practice so far. Practiced Monday and Tuesday. The guys are lifting and working out today, but no official practice today. We'll get back tomorrow and Friday before we leave and get ready for Middle Tennessee on Saturday. So, in a fairly good place, in a better place on Saturday and moving forward than we were probably this time last week. It's good to be moving in the right direction, and hopefully it's something that we can build on at Middle on Saturday.
Is this an opportune time? I mean, coming off a win, so you get that momentum from that, but you do, I guess a break's good anytime, but is this a decent time for that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the Thursday, Saturday kind of hits you fast, and I guess we got, I don't know, until we play Middle again, so maybe 4 weeks of it pretty consistently, and it's, when you play on Thursday, you're by Monday afternoon, Tuesday, you're getting ready for an opponent. So we were able to do some things, especially on the offensive side of the ball, to hopefully, just add a couple different dynamics. We can work on some different options on defense that that maybe throw some wrinkles in there. So you do get to focus on yourself a little bit more. I think we're in a decent position as far as our health and sickness and all that. So I think we're moving the right direction there. It's been a good week, and obviously allows us to have a couple days, Monday, Tuesday, to focus on us before we get back focused on Middle tomorrow.
With Middle playing all the same common opponents, does that kind of help in scouting and game planning because how they play the same people?
Yeah, I mean, it helps them, but I'm sure they know us as well. So it's, I think we're both in the same boat. So, it's certainly there's a familiarity, on our end as a coaching staff. We have, I think we've watched before even this week, we've watched every single one of their games. So, yeah, the familiarity part helps. At the same time, I mean, I don't know, when you get in conference, you feel like each team you play very, very well. They seem to know us very, very well. So it's, it's an even, they're in the same boat we are. So, I think when we play these guys, we played them 3 times last year. They have some of the same players for sure. They do some of the same stuff, but they're playing a little bit different as well. And they're obviously off to a great start this year. So the familiarity part for sure. At the same time, you got to, whatever team has the energy and the passion and can win the loose balls and win rebounding and make those toughness plays, that's probably who's going to win on Saturday.
Talk about rebounding. It's one of the big keys that's really kind of pushed you all over the edge here recently. What did you kind of learn on both sides, either offensively and defensively, just about the rebounding aspect of the game and how important it is?
Well, it's always going to be important. I think we've succeeded at Liberty when it was a strength, and obviously we failed versus Jacksonville State when it was a weakness. So if it takes that for us to learn, then I guess so be it. But it's going to be an important part. I mean, I'd say loose balls and rebounding. When nobody has the ball, in addition to rebounding the other day, I think we counted 14 loose balls and we had 11 of them, and Kennesaw had 3. So kind of those plays you can make, getting your hand, getting deflections, getting steals, getting blocks, just having an aggressiveness and a confidence to get the basketball when nobody has it, and rebounding is a huge part of that. That's going to be important for our success. Even if we're not the biggest team out there, we need to be the quickest and most aggressive and most confident team. So, the 2 games last week kind of showed, what we look like when we succeed in that area and what we look like when we'll fail in that area. And I think that'll be a consistent trend throughout the year and something we need to stay focused on and improve at for sure.
Just looking for an update from Baba's MRI or whatever the test was and the plan going forward.
Yeah, so I guess the update is Baba is not going to need surgery on his knee, and after 4 weeks we were going to try to evaluate if the healing was if his knee is healing, or if his knee is healing and stable, or if we were in a similar boat to where we were 4 weeks ago. There has been progress for sure. I think multiple doctors that we trust and work with have looked at it, and he is not going to need any surgery on his knee. So he's moving back the right direction. Now, what that looks like timeline, I guess we can pick up the recovery process and the I guess, the plan to get back and practice and play. You know, obviously this time of year it can be tricky because obviously if it takes him 4 more weeks, you know, then we probably need to decide, you know, what his status is. If it takes him 1 more week, you know, he'll probably be good to go. So, you know, I think the rehab has picked up. I'd say he's doubtful for this weekend. You know, and obviously he needs to practice, in my opinion, I guess in my opinion is the one that matters, he needs to practice consistently and improve his health. We're not about to just throw him out there after not practicing full in any kind of game. So I think we're picking the pace up. He's getting more active. He's certainly wants to come back. He was a huge part of us improving mentally and in our team energy and our team spirit on Friday getting into Saturday. So he's been an important part of our team, but obviously his scoring, rebounding, and defense is a major way that he could help us. So I think he'd like to play, would like to have him back, and we'll start that process. And again, if it's a couple days to a week, then we're probably looking at something good. If it lingers into February, then we probably have a decision to make. So don't have the answer for that one quite yet.
Now, if it's not necessary to have surgery, is it still a tear or is it some kind of a strain?
Yeah, it was so it was it's a partial MCL tear is what his injury was, and they heal on. I mean, it's a grade. I think grade 2 is what they told me, but they naturally heal on their own, and that was the expectation. If it doesn't, then surgery was needed. So it was an MCL injury. You know, I guess a partial tear is probably the best way that I could say, but there's been. But it is healing the correct direction, you know. And obviously, if this was a summer thing, then you let that heal and you're very patient with it. Obviously, in the season, there's a little pressure and a timeline and things like that. So just making sure his knee's stable, making sure the ligaments are stable. We don't want him to ever play in a situation where he could re-injure himself or the likelihood for injury is greater. So that's what the 4 weeks of kind of non-movement were for the knee to heal. It looks like it has done that, and now obviously just getting the strength back and, you know, continuing to be comfortable playing. Obviously speed is a big part of his game, so we'll see how this goes.
You know, it's your first time as a head coach in this 100 miles of paved rivalry. What kind of emotion and passion are you going to bring to the court on Saturday, Murfreesboro?
Well, I think every game's important. You know, I don't know if you need, as a coach, if you need some kind of rivalry or some kind of I guess the word hate is in the name, so I don't know if you need that to coach your best, or I don't know if you need that to play your best, but I think you always want to play games that are important to people. I think you come to Western Kentucky to play and to coach because the games are important. You know, I think every game we play is important. So, but obviously you know, I think we experienced it last year. We played these guys 3 times. We split in the regular season, and we won the last one in Huntsville. So I think we all got a taste of how important the game is. But there's no game that's less important. You know, there's 18 conference games, and there's, like I said, I think after the game, there's going to be ups and downs and peaks and valleys, and we've experienced probably greater highs and greater lows so far this year than what this group collectively did a year ago during the regular season. You know, so we've had some great wins and we've had some losses that we've had to learn from. So obviously, I think most important thing is to me is we're in a better place right now than we were a week ago. We've had a couple of good practices. I do think we have good focus and energy moving forward to Saturday, and we'll go down there and we'll see what we can do.
Just looking at middle, obviously they're on an upswing right now. Porter just kind of went off last week. What do they do well? What problems do they present for you guys?
They score the ball well. You know, they have, I guess, the 3 guys, and Porter had a great week last week. Cameron Weston has had a couple, I think was player of the week in the league maybe 3 weeks ago. And the big kid inside, Mustafa, is averaging, I don't know, 17 or 18 and leads the league in rebounding. So those guys, I mean, they can score the ball by shooting. You know, Porter's a scorer, but probably a jump shooter. Weston's kind of a do-it-all guard, and the big kid can really score inside. So then they have great players around those guys. They're athletic. You know, they're dynamic. They're dynamic on offense for sure. I think they've added a lot of weapons, and they go about 7 or 8 deep, and they play with a lot of confidence. So they're doing some different things this year than a year ago. Some more, you know, complicated scoring plays for those main guys. And we certainly, those guys are all capable, those 3 are all capable of going for 20, 25 points. So they certainly deserve our attention, and, you know, and we have to make sure that we are able to limit them while still being fast and dynamic on the offensive end.
This traditionally feels like a game that many Hilltoppers tougher fans travel for. I guess what's your kind of message to fans who, are kind of on the fence about coming to Murfreesboro to, show up and show out big night?
It's a big game. I guess I've gotten wind that they're really trying to promote it on their end and fill that place up. We're kind of in a point where I guess, them being a game ahead of us after the same schedule. I mean, it's a win that if we're able to get, it kind of turns tables and puts us in a great position. And we had a great crowd follow us to Kentucky. We had a great crowd follow us to Evansville. Obviously, I think the crowd was a big part of our success at Evansville. It felt like there were 500-600 people right behind our bench, and our players feed off of that. It matters. Like I said, there's ups and downs in the game, and man, when you're struggling a little bit, and you feel that people have made the investment and they've come to support you, and hey, win, lose or draw, they got your back. But man, in the middle of the battle, that really helps. So I know we had a great crowd down there last year. It sounds like these, from way prior to my time here, these are always very competitive games, and no doubt, I know that there's a reason why they're trying to fill that place up on their end, because it'll only help them. So, man, when you go on the road and you have a couple hundred people, 1,000 people follow you and travel and care about what you do, man, it really helps. And in the Kentucky game, it helped us continue to fight. The Evansville game, it helped us win. And I think that our fans that have come and travel with us, hopefully they feel they're getting their money's worth and it's worth their time. I mean, I've got a lot of positive feedback, and as you can see, after Christmas, again, we had some ups and downs, but again, like I said, I think we played really well on Saturday. We've built off of that since, and I'm expecting a very, very good effort, and we will make it worth your time if you come down to Murfreesboro on Saturday for sure.
Evan,
Talking about the offense just a little bit. I mean, you kind of proved that pretty much any given night that any player can step up and have a big night. Obviously, that can be utilized very well whenever it comes to other teams scouting, not knowing who really is going to perform, who's not going to perform, so kind of catching teams off guard. But also as well, how do you kind of build a little bit of consistency there and trying to keep that momentum going?
Yeah, I think Tyrone and Enoch obviously played real well the last game. Enoch had 2 good games. We need the 2 of those guys to continue to be confident in attacking the basket and getting paint touches, whether that's through the pass or that's through them attacking off the bounce. Don can score, Christian can score, Julius can score. We've had some scoring from our backcourt, but I do think that Wu and Enoch they can score in a lot of different ways. They can make threes, they can finish at the rim, they can get offensive rebounds, they can get dunks in transition. Man, if the 2 of them continue to have an aggressive mindset, whether that results in 20 points or not, but when they put pressure on the defense, that creates more opportunities for our guards to shoot from the perimeter. It'll create some dump downs to Leroy and Blaze. I think the 2 of them continuing to play with that aggressive mindset on the offensive end and continue to build their confidence, I think that will open up the game for our entire team. So, yeah, no doubt. We want everybody to play with confidence, but I do think when Enoch and Wu, being 6'6", 215 pounds and being guards, that when they're able to do some different things, I think it makes us a lot more dynamic, and I thought that was a big reason for our success on Saturday.
so you're well into conference play now. I was just wondering, having been here last year and been a part of this program and seeing Conference USA, how has that helped you this year to prepare for these conference games, if at all, and where so?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly helps as far as having just knowledge of the teams and the games. I mean, Kennesaw is the only new opponent that we're facing, and in a year ago, I guess I was a little bit looking at it from the offensive side rather than the head coach perspective, but I was involved in every single scout in that regard. So it's, in a league where a lot of kids are back, there's a lot of returners, there's a lot of experience, and it's, I think the more you play somebody, whether it's a coach or players, you do learn what their tendencies are. You do learn what they naturally, will go to. And there's no, even for our whole team, not just me, but, there's no environments that are going to be new. There's no situations that'll be new. And I do think the more, we'll go down the middle on Friday and we'll get in the gym, Friday night and Saturday before we play. I just think the more you're at a place, the more all of a sudden the newness wears off, and you're able to stay right in the moment and focus on what's between the lines and competing and the togetherness that comes with it. So, I guess I think it helps in the fact that you're not going to run into outside the lines unknown situations. It helps knowing the players. It's funny, we're playing Middle Tennessee, and shoot, as a coach, I've competed against Justin Porter and Cameron Weston for years now. I've seen them long before we got here. So, you know, I think the more that you see players and coaches and the more you see a style, you know, the more it helps you prepare. At the same time, man, players develop, coaches develop, we change. We're playing similar to last year but different. Most teams we play are similar to last year but different. So it's the experience that helps, but you do got to stay present. You do got to stay in the moment, and you do have to, you know, attack each team on that given day that you play them. Thank you, guys.